everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, great to be here.
You know, we always get questions about AI and the future of jobs.
Right.
And one of our listeners actually sent in this article called Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Work. Job shifting, not job loss.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I gotta say, that title alone has me a little curious, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because are we really just talking about job shifting, or are we gonna see, mass unemployment? Is that the fear here?
Yeah, it's a common concern for sure.
So we're going to try to unpack that today, right? Using this article and really pull out the insights that matter most to you guys listening, right?
Absolutely.
Not just summarizing the article, but really pulling out, okay, how real is this fear and what can we actually do about it?
Right. It's about actionable insights.
Exactly. So think of us as your AI and job market translators for the day.
I like that.
Because sometimes these articles, right, they can be a little dense.
Yeah, for sure.
So one thing that jumped out at me right away was this idea of job shifting, not job loss, which, on the surface sounds kind of reassuring, but I don't know, it still makes me a little nervous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Because we see AI doing more and more these days.
Right, it's advancing so rapidly.
Exactly. So how much shifting are we really talking about? And is it really going to be okay for everyone?
Well, that's the key question, isn't it? And the article actually addresses that head on.
Yeah.
It acknowledges that fear of job displacement.
Okay, good.
But then it dives into this fascinating link between productivity and job creation.
Okay, so wait, explain that, because that almost sounds counterintuitive, right? If a company becomes more productive because of AI, shouldn't that mean they need fewer workers?
It seems like common sense, but it's not always the case.
Okay, I'm listening.
So the article uses this example from South Korea. Their productivity jumped by a whopping 32%.
Wow.
Massive, right? And you'd think unemployment would follow. But get this, the OECD found that unemployment actually went down during that same period.
No way, seriously.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, but think about it. When businesses become more efficient, they can expand, create new things, and that often means hiring more people.
So it's like a rising tide can lift all boats, right?
Exactly.
But I'm guessing there are some caveats here, right?
Right, because some boats might need a little help staying afloat.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, the article talks about how not everyone benefits equally from these economic shifts.
Right.
It brings up the potential for increased income inequality, even if AI leads to more jobs overall.
That's a really important point.
It is, and it's something we need to be mindful of.
Absolutely. So it's not all sunshine and roses then?
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
but it's not all doom and gloom either.
Okay, so it's complicated.
Like most things worth discussing.
Fair enough. Okay, so more jobs maybe, but what about the hours we're working? Are those going to change?
Well, actually, the article talks about how working hours have been decreasing for over 100 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty wild to think about, right? With all the technology we have now, you'd think we'd be working more.
Right. You'd think we'd be glued to our devices 24/7.
Exactly. But it hasn't really played out that way.
So maybe AI could actually help us achieve that whole work-life balance thing we're all after.
That's the hope, right? The article even suggests that instead of fearing job loss, maybe we should be aiming for a 3-day work week.
Whoa, hold on. A 3-day work week? Are we talking Fridays off forever here?
Imagine that possibility.
Okay, you've got my attention now. But seriously, what kind of jobs are we talking about in this future where everyone's chilling with 4-day weekends? What skills do I need to make sure I'm not replaced by a robot?
Well, the article is clear that the type of work we do is definitely changing. We've already seen manufacturing jobs decline, and that trend's going to continue.
All right, less factory work. Got it.
Exactly.
Right.
But here's the interesting part. The service sector is booming. So we're talking jobs that require those human skills that AI just can't replicate yet.
Okay, so less factory work, more human connection. What does that look like in practice? Give me some examples.
Think nurses, therapists, teachers, artists, roles that need empathy, creativity, problem-solving, those uniquely human skills.
Got it. So those soft skills are becoming even more important.
Exactly. And the article also highlights the need for software developers.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that as a very human job.
Right. But it's not just about the coding itself. It's about designing technology that works with humans, not just for them.
Ah, okay. So it's still about that human element.
Precisely. It's about human-centered design,
Yeah.
understanding how people interact with technology,
Right.
and making it work better for us.
That makes sense. So we're not all doomed to be replaced by robots after all.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But we do need to be adaptable and focus on developing those skills that set us apart.
Adaptability, that seems to be the key takeaway here.
It really is.
Okay, so adaptability is key, but with all this talk about AI and massive shifts in the workforce, how do we actually make sure that, our listeners are the ones who are thriving in this new world, not the ones who are getting left behind?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and honestly, there's no easy answer. The article really emphasizes that it's not about picking the right job now. It's about being ready and willing to adapt throughout your entire career.
So it's less about the actual job title and more about like constantly learning and developing valuable skills, right?
Exactly. Lifelong learning is going to be essential.
But that can feel kind of overwhelming, right? Like, where do you even begin? The article mentions that something like 50% of workers are going to need reskilling by 2025.
Yeah, that's a pretty staggering statistic.
It is so. How do we even wrap our heads around that kind of change?
Well, it starts with self-reflection. The article suggests really thinking about your own strengths and passions. What are you naturally good at? What do you enjoy doing?
So instead of freaking out about the robots, just like focus on yourself.
In a way, yes. Because even if your specific job becomes automated, you are not. You have unique experiences, insights, creativity that AI can't replicate.
That's a good point. It's about figuring out how to leverage those strengths in a world where AI is a tool, not a threat.
Exactly. And this isn't just on individuals either. The article talks about how governments and businesses need to step up too, providing reskilling opportunities, creating safety nets. It mentions things like universal basic income and expanded access to education.
Right, so it's a collective effort for sure, but it sounds like there's actually a lot to be optimistic about if we approach this the right way.
Absolutely. The future isn't predetermined. We have choices. As AI keeps developing, the question is how will you use it to enhance your work, your life, your potential?
That's a powerful message to end on. It's not about becoming the robot. It's about deciding how we want to coexist and thrive alongside this technology. So as you're navigating your own career journey, keep that in mind. What skills do you want to develop? What kind of future do you want to help create?
And remember, there's no one right answer. It's about finding what works for you and being open to new possibilities.
I love that. Well, everyone, that wraps up our deep dive on AI and the future of work. We debunked some myths, explored the changing landscape, and most importantly, empowered you to take control of your own career destiny. We hope this conversation has given you a lot to think about. What resonated most with you? What questions do you still have? Head over to our online community and share your thoughts. We'd love to keep this conversation going. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.